Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. We are here again for a preview because international break is finally over and we are going to be put out of our misery very soon. We have Aniket here, who is a super fan and he also subscribes to our channel, follows it. So it's great to have him on with us today. And we're going to talk about the West Brom game, obviously. But since I mentioned the international game, let me get the formalities out of the way and talk about injuries. So, because of the international break, obviously Liverpool's squad is completely finished, but Man United haven't been that unlucky. Marcus Rashford has reported back for training. Marcus Mason Greenwood has reported back for training. Alex Telles is back. Victor Lindelof are all in training. This they've reported today for training, so that's a good sign for United. That means Rashford's shoulder tear that we thought could be serious, it isn't. So that's a great sign. The players who didn't report for training are Harry Maguire, who's has a foot injury. It's said to be. Cavani didn't report for training. We do not know that. Jesse Lingard did not report for training. Again, I think it's that niggle that he has been carrying is yet on. Of course, Eric Bailly didn't report for training. That's not even a surprise anymore. But people are saying that he is coming close to full fitness. So on the injury front, most of our main players are there. Of course, Luke Shaw was never going to be fit. So Teles is positive to play. Sorry, negative in the COVID test, positive to play. So that's a good sign. So Aniket, let me get you into this. It seems like our first 11 is available, but this first 11 puts out performances that we don't understand what happens. So what do you think we should expect post international break, because we did take some confidence going into it with that comeback win at Everton. So what do you think we expect in this game?
I feel personally that we are going to hit back, and most of our players have performed well on the international scenes. And Harry has been back in action, and it's very funny that people don't talk about when Harry plays good, but they are always up for the talk when he doesn't play good. And that will be a real good thing for us for Harry to be back in form. Of course, there has been issues with Lindelof this season, and I would love to see Tuanzebe. I know he has performed really badly in that UCL game, but yeah, Tuanzebe and Harry, that's a partnership that I think we should and Ole should prioritize every now and then, maybe this season. So, all in all, it could be a good performance against West Brom, I feel, yeah.
So, Aniket, I think you raised a couple of good points about Harry Maguire. He captained England in the friendly. He got a goal. He looked solid. He's looked solid in all the other games, even though they lost to Belgium. But he is carrying a bit of an injury that could stop him from playing. Lindelof didn't show up for training. I guess that's because they just played yesterday. Sweden just played the last set of fixtures, and maybe he isn't back yet. So I assume that he'd be okay to start because, like you said, Twanzebe has been a little patchy, and I think Maguire and Lindelof are again growing into that partnership what they were post lockdown. But you mentioned an interesting point about this United team being enough for West Brom. Now, West Brom have not won a single game this season in the Premier League. They've either drawn or lost. Now, what is interesting is that they scored three against Chelsea and completely opened Chelsea's defense up, and then they conceded three. They restricted a high flying Spurs team, and Spurs only scored in the 89th minute. So West Brom is sort of an unpredictable team. What we do know is that they will play mostly. They will come out with a low block against United because they're playing at Old Trafford. So now, how do you see we can counter that low block? Because have you seen any signs of improvement in that department? What would you do if I was to give you the manager's hat, let's say, for the next 2 minutes?
I would definitely play Van de Beek in because we know that Bruno can play really good and he can pick out a pass, but I feel right now teams have figured out Bruno. The span he had when he came back, when we actually signed, and when we came back into action after lockdown, it was he was new to the league. No one knew him. No one knew his game, what he was all about, and he picked out those passes really good. He picked out positions really good. But now it's like uh, put two players on Bruno and don't give him time on the ball, and you'll have it your way. But what Van de Beek provides us is that triangle formation when we go forward, and the most important thing is he's the creator of that triangle. So wherever he goes, the triangle can move. And I feel if we play Van de Beek alongside Bruno, or maybe not with Bruno, it gives us an extra oomph, which Bruno already has. So add that with Bruno's X factor. and we'll surely create chances because we know that West Brom is going to be on the low block, and given the fact that Marcus has already and Martial, he could be dicey as well up front, so we could play Van de Beek in behind the strikers. Yeah.
Right. I think that's an interesting point you raise, and I think that brings me to my next question: is what would your predicted 11 be? And I feel some positions pick themselves. You've already spoken about Van der Beek at length, so he would obviously be in midfield. Who else would start in midfield? Because McTominay has not showed up for training. He might be carrying a niggle, is what reports are. And then, of course, we have the sort of perennial question of Paul
Yeah.
Pogba as to what to do with Paul Pogba. In the international break, certain comments he made
Yeah.
were taken out of context. So there is some circus that is always going around Pogba. So what would your ideal 11 be for this game?
So I would definitely start with De Gea at the back, between the sticks with Maguire and Tuanzebe if Maguire is fit. If not, then we'll probably have to decide something. Or probably worst case scenario, if Maguire and Lindelof both aren't up for the game, we'll have to play maybe Fosu Mensah and Tuanzebe in that back line. Uh, I'll go Van Bissaka on the right hand side, and finally we'll have Telles. I know Luke Shaw has been great this season, but Telles provides us that extra oomph when he goes forward, and we saw that against PSG's game. For midfield, I feel Ole will put out a score McTominay and Fred midfield, but given the fact that McTominay could be carrying a niggle, I would love to see Fred in that CDM role with Van de Beek and Bruno up ahead of him.
Right.
That would give us an extra bit of creativity in that midfield to surpass that low block of West Brom. And up top would be Marcus, Martial, or even Cavani. We could try Cavani, but given the fact that his age factor and he's still getting to full fitness, trying to get into the flow of Premier League, I feel Martial will play with Greenwood on the right hand side.
Right. I think there are two, three interesting things that stand out for me over there. The first thing is Teles. I think breaking the low block, I think Teles could be very important for us moving forward and providing us that drive going ahead. Because however good Luke Shaw may be in the eyes of many, he's not the best player in the final ball. Now I understand that he's provided 2 assists in the last 2 games, so it's a little stupid for me to say that he's not. But this is, if you take a set of his entire career at United, you can almost remember instances where he's put in a good cross, and that's never a good sign. So I think Alex Telles will be an important factor over there, giving us a little more room from the left hand side, and that will allow Marcus Rashford to play a little more centrally. I think that could help us. The second thing that stands out for me there is that you want Fred to play as the CDM. So you don't think that Matic should get into this team?
Matic would be great. Matic would be good. I don't know why he has not played. Maybe because Ole wants to create that fact that these are going to be his last season, and he needs to find someone to replace in that position. But Fred can do a job if it's his day. Fred is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. And I think Ole is trying to smooth Fred over into that role of Matic. But if Matic is fully fit and up for the game, then surely Matic should be in there.
Right. And the third player you mentioned was Mason Greenwood. So now Mason Greenwood has not played a lot of first team football this season for mainly what we understand are off the pitch reasons, some on the pitch reasons in terms of how he's not being able to manage his workload. So do you think it's the right thing to put Greenwood in directly, or should we maybe try a Mata again? Or Dan James was now scored a great goal apparently, so maybe Ole gives him a go. Or do you think Mason should be thrown right into it? Because my personal view is that throw him right in. He's a great player and he'll respond.
Yes, absolutely. Because at times you need that for a player. If you are a player, you'll need that to hit back to give your answers on the pitch. And I feel Ole follows that mentality because he himself has been a player and he knows how it is to be in a rough patch. And it's best to talk on the pitch, and Mason Greenwood can surely do that. We all know about it. What is interesting is Mata can provide another bit of creativity because his off the ball movement is brilliant. That's the only thing Mata stands out for me, that he has other than Greenwood. But Greenwood's on the ball movement is absolutely exceptional. He's great with both feet. He can shoot from his left, shoot from his right. Will always keep the defenders on his toes. So I feel we should give him the chance.
Absolutely. I think Ole is doing a pretty good job of protecting Greenwood at the same time giving him chances, and I think that is something that we need desperately at this point because we can't lose a talent like Mason Greenwood to the sort of hawks or the sort of snakes that are there in the press. We can't lose a generational talent like Greenwood to them. It would be a travesty for football. But having said that, Aniket, what is your prediction for the game? Do you expect United to rout West Brom, or do you think it will be one of those snooze fests where we scrap, and we nick a goal in the end or something like that?
I feel if we come in and play the first 20 minutes confidently, we put pressure on West Brom, then the game is ours. We'll probably score 3 or 4 goals. But if we take time to get into the groove, it is going to be that game where we'll find it hard to break them down because they'll sit back and defend to the end of the day, and they'll take the pressure happily. They'll be happy about it that you come to us, we have the balls in your court and do whatever you want. We are not going to break down. But if it's that kind of game, that is where I feel Van der Beek is going to be crucial, and I hope Ole plays him this time because it's overtime. It's about time he gets a start in the Prem, and if we turn this into our first home win, then that is going to be great.
Absolutely. So, what scoreline are you going for though?
I'll say 3-1 to us.
3-1, yeah. So I think that one other thing we need to consider is that Selvan Bilic is not the kind of manager to just hold and sit back. He will try to create that opportunity to score a goal. I think
Yeah.
against Spurs also they hit the bar a couple of times. Against Chelsea, as I said, they've scored 3 goals. They even though they've lost, they've scored in most games. So Bilic is not the manager who sits back. We've seen that with West Ham. We've even seen that with West Brom. So I think maybe that might work in our favor. Just maybe that if he tries to attack us, I think we'll become a
Yes.
very dangerous team. But what I feel is that that early goal will be very important, and it is important for us to
Very.
start with the right intensity because in many matches we only turn up after half the game is over, and that I think is not the right attitude in these games because in these games if they get a goal, then they will look to shut shop. So I think that is important. But Aniket, just your final thoughts. Who is your player to watch out for this game from a Manchester United perspective?
Bruno Fernandes, man. He has been crucial. We saw him against the Everton game. He was the main creator. He was the main leader out there on the pitch, creating chances, forcing players to go on to the win the ball, to put pressure on Everton. And we knew Everton in sort of a way that that was going to play ball, that was not going to try and hold back because we are a bigger team, or if I can say that. Uh, that role for Bruno Fernandes was important, and I guess against West Brom it is going to be the same to rally up the lads to keep on going, and as you said, to start with the right intensity is important.
Absolutely. So I agree with you that Bruno Fernandes is obviously the best player we have in terms of technical ability, in terms of drive and quality. But I think it's time for Anthony Martial to step up and finally get those goals in. So for his sake and for United's sake, going into this season, I'm hoping that he can show up and get a goal and be the person who makes the difference. But also this game is very crucial because if you think about it, Manchester United are only 5 points off Chelsea with a game in hand. So that essentially you can say that is 2 points off Chelsea. So this game is crucial because if Chelsea slip up, Manchester United can be right there into that fifth and fourth place battle. So one thing fans need to remember is that we have one game in hand. Even though against Aston Villa who are looking high flying, they can be beaten. So this now these games are crucial. Now there's no international break. There's nothing. I think the entire focus should be on the squad, and I hope that this can be the start of a run of good fixtures for Manchester United, and finally we can get our first home win as well. So thank you, Aniket, for coming on. Thanks, guys, for watching. You've heard it from us. We expect a 3-1 kind of game. United playing good football. Bruno Fernandes showing why he is our Portuguese Magnifico. And we move on to the Başakşehir game and maybe even secure Champions League qualification into the next stage. So thanks, Aniket, for joining us. Do subscribe to the
Thanks
channel
for
and
having
we'll
me,
see you
man.
all soon. Bye bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. If you do like it, please click on the thumbs up